Welcome to today's webinar, designed specifically to help snow removal companies start off the new year strong. Today's session will highlight topics such as the daily, weekly, and ad hoc daily tasks and challenges that your snow removal business may face, how automation and digital transformation can streamline some of your operations as well as enhance efficiency during day-to-day processes, and how to save your organization time and money, especially during this busy winter season. Just a reminder that we will address the audience's questions towards the end of the session. Please use the chat feature to submit any questions at any time. We're also recording today's session and we'll share a link to everyone in the coming days. Now, it gives me great pleasure to introduce you to one of my colleagues, Anthony Chang. Anthony is the Vice President of Sales with Axsoft. He has been with Axsoft for 7 years, and he will give a quick overview of his background and his culture before diving into today's topic.
Awesome. Well, good afternoon, and thank you so much for the introduction. Looking forward to speaking with all of you around the TeamWorks products and how we benefit our particular industry today in the snow removal field. So a little bit of background about myself and this fun fact you see here on the page. As you can see, my name is Anthony Chang. At first glance, you'd assume maybe Italian, maybe Chinese, but in fact, I'm actually 60% Guatemalan, 40% Spanish, and 0% Chinese or Italian. I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole and explain how this all happened, but for a quick high level explanation, my great grandmother took the name of the man who raised her children, who happened to be Chinese in Guatemala. And we got the name Chang down the line. And then my dad, to add fuel to the fire, decided to name me Anthony Gianni Chang, which then made me sound extremely Italian with a little bit of Chinese, and I happen to be none of that. So quick fact about me, I actually speak fluent Spanish. So that's me. Nice to meet you all. Looking forward to talking about a little bit more in depth of how we can benefit the snow removal industry. So let's go ahead and kick it right off. I've been in the industry for a little bit over 8 years selling this product, so I have a good understanding of multiple snow removal companies in different verticals. The day in the life is obviously different for each snow removal company's employees. It just depends on where they're regionally based, what type of snow removal they do, but some of the day-to-day things that a employee at a snow removal company does is right on the screen, as you see here. Simple things like taking inventory, checking in with the office, driving to customer locations, logging hours, and as you can kind of get the drift, very manual processes that may take time to get completed and slow down production. And so the conversation we're going to have today is around how TeamWorks can better assist with those processes on a day-to-day and also complement the things that they're already doing. Some day-to-day activities and challenges that employees face are listed below. One of the most common ones that I see is obviously having an issue with accepting new work orders. So, getting a phone call, hey, we actually need you to go over here to go remove snow or lay salt or whatever that may be, and not knowing where to go, not being able to get that information in one singular phone call, along with kind of managing the day-to-day operation for those dispatches of new jobs and orders. So I've worked with multiple companies that ultimately the employee shows up for the day, picks up a stack of papers, even post-it notes or gets email, text message, telling them, you need to go here. Next, it's here. Next, it's here. Very slow, very kind of archaic, if to be honest, which can, obviously slow things down, but also not allow the employee to perform at their best capability. The information seems to be scarce or scattered. And with that, they don't have the strength of knowing what equipment inventory that's going to need to be used is available to them, which is kind of a challenge in multiple ways, not only for the employee, but the back office staff could naturally assume that things are being completed or done when really they're not completely sure in real time if it's been done or if they have the allocation of equipment and product to be used in that scenario. Some more continued here. As you can imagine, put yourself in the shoes of an employee doing snow removal. It's cold, it's wet, and paperwork doesn't do well in that environment. We find a lot of companies simply needing to digitize their processes by eliminating that paperwork they have today, just because sometimes, for one, it can't be read, it's lost, it's misplaced, or it's just damaged. As you can imagine, with the elements in these scenarios, there's a lot of times where you can't even use the stuff that comes back to the office. It takes a long time to get back to the office. And unfortunately, if they're not getting this information back to the office in a timely fashion, you could imagine it takes more time for them to process payment, to receive that, what's most important, return on investment that I'll get to here in just a moment. Weekly responsibilities and frustrations. So as you can imagine, like I said before, each company has employees that have different responsibilities throughout the day, just dependent on what type of snow removal it is, where they're based. Some of the frustrations that you'll obviously see are pretty obvious, but those responsibilities can range anywhere from, 1 to 20, 30 different things that they need to do for the day. One of the most common ones that I see is getting before and after confirmation that a job was completed. So if you think about it, let's say we're in rural Chicago, the outskirts of Chicago, not being able to know if a job was completed because let's say there's a driveway that needs to be shoveled or cleaned. They go out and do that. There's a blizzard outside. They may have completed the job, but within an hour or two, by the time the customer actually comes back to check, it's completely covered in snow again. It looks like nothing was done. The great part about our solution, it does give them the opportunity to prove that the job was completed with real-time notification in the form of words, text, audio, photos, and I'll get to that a little bit more here in just in a minute. But being able to show that the job was executed timely and efficiently like the customer requested. Probably most common from a safety aspect and also just a general whereabout aspect is the GPS and locations of equipment, vehicles, and their employees. As you can imagine, with the snow coming down very hard, sleet, water, ice, doesn't matter. It's a big mix for safety concerns. Not being able to know where the employees are in the event of an accident, in the event of, an illness. It doesn't even need to be related to the snow, but God forbid something happens to the employee themselves and they can't locate them. Having the ability to pull the GPS coordinates down to the 60-second mark of where they are, what they're doing, gives them the complacency to understand where they are. And then, as you can imagine, vehicles and equipment, being able to allocate and understand where that equipment is so that it's able to be put on the right job at the right time in the event of, let's say, an emergency or a catastrophic storm, as you've been seeing across the country, gives them the efficiency of being able to manage where that all is. Kind of similar to before and after, documenting and being safety compliant. So as you can imagine as well, there's quite the list of things that need to be adhered to. Our platform allows them to have all of the different safety compliances that they need double checked to ensure that it is being followed, it is being completed in the right way. Accepting timely payments. This is probably my favorite one as a sales guy. As you can imagine, getting the payment from the customer is the main name of the game. You invest in a product to obviously help and ease things from a time perspective, ease of use perspective, but at the end of the day, you want to make a return on your investment. Our solution gives the ability for our customers to charge their customers in a timely fashion to receive the payment, process it, and move on to the next job. By industry standard, we do find that we can typically add 1 to 2 jobs per day in addition to the way that they were doing it before, which, you multiply that by the amount you make per job, That's going to make your return on the investment right there. And I'll get to that in just a little bit more in depth. Must-haves. So each company's going to be different. What do they need to have? What needs to be available or ready for them to do? As I alluded to earlier, as you can see, there is quite the storm. What do they call it? The snow apocalypse going on across the country. I remember I'm here in sunny Tampa, Florida, but I woke up one morning and it was, I believe, 29 degrees outside, and it was almost like the end of the world. Everybody had their jackets on. There was frost on the ground. We take it for granted, but in other places where there's 20 feet of snow, I heard in the Sequoia National Park, teams need to be ready to deploy at any given time. They need to be aware and available to allocate resources for any emergency that may pop up. If there's an avalanche, if there is dangerous black ice, they need to be equipped and ready to go. The other thing, and the most important part, is obviously communication. So being able to respond to different emergencies or different jobs in a timely fashion is huge for a company. That is a must-have. A way to be able to send a new job, an update to somebody out in the field for them to respond to accordingly is a must. Now, my favorite part. What does Teamworks do, and how does it alleviate some of the concerns that you just saw before in the snow removal industry? Teamworks is an extremely powerful platform that allows you to manage your workforce with one solution to boost productivity and profitability. These are the features. I am going to go through them each individually on the next page, but just to quickly breeze over them. Job dispatching, obviously being able to send new jobs, make changes to old jobs, update jobs. Wireless forms. Again, sales guy here. Favorite question I can ask anyone is, hey, do you use paper at your business? 9 times out of 10, I hear yes in some way, shape, or form. And our solution gives them the absolutely vital ability to digitize the way they're doing those things to save time and money. Mobile timekeeping, so clocking in, clocking out. GPS tracking, whether that be from a phone, tablet, or a vehicle. Intracompany messaging, and mobile payments, which I'll get to all of those here in just a moment. But these are, some of the core features within the Teamwork solution that can alleviate some of the concerns, responsibilities that these employees have on a day-to-day. Role of automation and digital transformation. So how does this play a piece in the day-to-day, and how does it make things simpler? I can obviously tell you, our solution does a great job, but the proof is in the pudding. Dispatching new work orders to employees on demand obviously strengthens the timely communications. So a notification on their device instantaneously letting them know they have new work or they have a change to the job, as opposed to trying to hunt them down with a text message or an email or a phone call, can pay dividends. You can reduce the clutter, costs, and delays by obviously making things not on paper. It gives you the ability to manage everything digitally, instantaneously, and obviously legibly. Tracking, don't really have to go down the rabbit hole with this one, but being able to see where your employees are, who's available for those jobs. I know one of our features is the closest to feature, which gives you the ability to see who's closest to the job and most reasonable to reply or respond to that emergency or that job. Vehicle and asset allocation. So if you're wondering, do I have enough trucks in the area to complete this job? No. Well, I need to figure out where they are so I can get them moved and communicate that to my employees out in the field. Manage all current and future work orders from an intuitive dashboard. I really like this one. The beauty of our solution is it does give you the ability from a scheduling aspect to see on a live calendar, a live map of where your jobs are, what stage they are in. Do they need to be changed to a different employee? And it all updates in real time for you to see within the solution. You don't have to do things multiple times. The beauty of our solution is it does have open APIs available on every single one of our features. So if you do have a solution in place today that you absolutely refuse or cannot remove or get rid of, we can complement the solutions. Through the API integrations, we can have the two solutions talk, and feed data in or out of each way on those solutions, giving you the ability to make that perfect pane of glass for your business. This is where the proof is in the pudding. Very, very simple. I know I get a lot of questions of, is it easy to use? Are my employees going to adopt this solution simply? And the answer is yes. The joke I always make on my demonstrations is if you've ever used a Fisher Price toy or accessed an ATM before, you're going to have no issue with the Teamwork solution. The first picture you see here is ultimately all the different features, pretty bubbly, pretty big. It's as simple as tapping the button and it'll open up the feature and you're able to access it from the field 24/7, 7 days a week, so long as there's a connection on a phone, tablet, or a computer. Just a quick fact, an added benefit of our solution is we do have a built-in feature named Store It and Forward. So if you are in an area where there is low cell coverage, network capabilities are lagging, our solution will always allow you to continue to use the solution at any given time. It will cache any entries that you have. So timekeeping, wireless forms, submissions, dispatches of jobs, it will cache it on the device. And as soon as you're into an area of better reception or hit Wi-Fi, it will automatically push all that information instantaneously back to the office, allowing your employee to continue their day and allowing the back office to ensure that information does get to the employees no matter what. For the timekeeping solution, as you see here, pretty straightforward. They have the ability to clock in, clock out, go on break, go on lunch. Every time your employees clock in or clock out, or a supervisor clocks in or clocks out your crew, it will take a GPS stamp letting you know where that clock in or punch happened, which is an added feature so that you're aware or you know that your employee is clocking in at the job site or at the job when it was supposed to be, as opposed to, let's say, at home before getting to the job when they're not supposed to be compensated for that travel time. Just giving you some more insight and accuracy on your billing, payroll, things like that. Wireless forms, huge in the snow removal industry. So being able to completely customize our wireless form solution gives you the power to gather any information that you're going to need pertinent to the actual job that you're doing. We offer things like text boxes, radio boxes, drop-down lists that are dynamic. You have the ability to upload and import equipment lists, customer addresses, names. We can collect signature. We can collect signature, audio fields up to 2 minutes. So you can go into the solution and record any audio recordings that you need. You're also able to get into the system and make these conditional. So if there's a scenario where you want your employees to fill things out, but you don't need all the information, you can have these boxes be dynamic. So let's say, for example, here, work to be done. They installed a new unit. When they select install a new unit, the estimated total and everything else under it automatically pops up for them to fill. If they didn't select install new unit, it could stay right at that level. They don't need to fill anything out. So it's very intuitive and allows you to grab the information that you need out in the field in real time. Dispatch, very easy. We make it simple for the employees to gather that information. As you can see here, when there's a new job, they'll receive a notification on their device letting them know they have a new work order dispatched to them. It will show them the person or customer that they need to go to, the area they need to go to, what status that job is in, the order number. It will give them turn-by-turn directions on how to get to there, so they don't need to copy the address, leave the application, go into Maps and use it. They can get it straight from there. There will be a link to the customer's phone number to call and say, hey, I'm on the way, or I'm running late, or I can't access it, whatever that may be. And they will have the ability to change the status of the job in real time throughout the process or progress of that job. So if they're en route, paperwork is being collected, or simply the job is complete, all of that information will make it back to the office instantaneously for them to review, process, submit the payment, and you guessed it, receive their return on investment. Lastly, as you can imagine, GPS tracking is pretty straightforward. You're able to see down to the 60-second mark on the map of where the employee or the vehicle is. It will refresh and show you that on the map as it's moving with its real-time pings. It will give you a breadcrumb trail and you're able to access down to the 60 seconds where your employee or vehicle has been historically. So if you enter a date, you'll be able to see exactly where they were, all the events that were generated throughout the day, like ignition on, ignition off, hard stopping, braking, acceleration, all of that. Simple from this screen, which gives you some visibility on what's been happening. Or quite frankly, if a customer says, hey, you weren't there, you didn't remove the snow, well, not only do I have my time punch with GPS punch that shows I clocked in right at your location, I also collect a wireless form with photo that I did complete the job with the total estimate and total for you to pay. I also have the work order dispatch with the historical timeline of when it was in progress, when the paperwork was completed. And lastly, I have my GPS coordinates showing I was exactly here for this amount of time, so on and so forth. So I hope you're getting the grasp of how all of these features work in unison to better alleviate any concerns that an employee or a back office staff may have in a day-to-day in the snow removal industry. Now, use cases. How does it work? Like I mentioned, proof is in the pudding. There's obviously different kinds of snow removal companies. It could be anywhere from residential to commercial to municipalities, government agencies. We've seen it all. This use case right here is pretty interesting. Our customer was actually summoned to do a project on a bridge. It was to complete the snow plowing project on the city bridge. And before I go into it a little bit more, you have to keep in mind that this project isn't just a for funsies, go out there, remove the snow because it's annoying. You got to remember that these snow removal companies are doing a lot more than just doing a job. They're assisting and benefiting the people around the area as well, because without this bridge, they weren't able to commute from city to city, slowing down, obviously commute times, but also causing congestion in other routes throughout the city, which then caused a huge chaos, not being able to access it. So through the use of our solution and our intercompany messaging and dispatching, the company was able to communicate to all of their employees that they needed to respond to this high priority bridge project. And they were able to dispatch each portion of what needed to be done on the bridge. So, team A went to this portion, team B went to this portion, team C went to this portion, and completed 3 different types of actions. So laying salt, obviously removing the snow, and this company specifically had a traffic team that was able to go out there and mediate traffic while they were working on this in an efficient manner. All of this information was documented, it was done efficiently, and it was sent back to the office with allocations of where their employees are, so that they were able to wrap up the job and move on to the next one. So excellent use case there. Kind of piggybacking on the previous use case, we also have another one here in the residential space. This company simply used our wireless forms to go out there and take vehicle inventory. Being able to see where the employees' pieces of equipment from that job are pays dividends. Do I have enough snow removal buckets? Do I have enough snow plow trucks? We have 7 on this side of town. We only have 3 on this side of town, but we're having an influx of requests from this side of town. We need to move 4 over here. Having the ability to open up a screen and see everything all on one page alleviates those concerns and allows them to obviously capture that information, as you see on the left, instantaneously to send back and obviously reconcile within their systems of what is being used, what is not being used. And in this instance, this customer actually used our mobile payments feature powered by Stripe to collect the payments for everything that was happening. It made the payment come back faster. It gave them visibility on what was done, so that at the end of the day, the return on investment is being able to add or include an extra job to the portfolio of the client, so that they were able to go out there and make more money, which at the end of the day, that's all of our goal here with this solution. Lastly, our solution obviously is very powerful. Multiple different facets of what can be beneficial. But there's always going to be those scenarios where, hey, I need training, I need help, I need the ability to, grow with the solution as my business grows, because that's what we want to do. We want you to get your return on investment and obviously grow as a business. We offer concierge level assistance standard with any Teamworks account. We have a customer experience team that's obviously dedicated to you. You're able to use them at any time. You'll get up to $18,000 annually of professional or managed services, meaning if you do have any other systems that you want to integrate our solution with, our team will go ahead and assist you in getting that completed up to the 18,000 per year. I can tell you that's a hefty budget. You should be just fine. Doing this for quite some time, I haven't seen much. Many people get to that area in terms of the amount, so you should be all right. The onboarding is personalized. So we want to train you guys on the solution for your business, not the solution how everybody else uses it. So it's a one-on-one call that gives you the initial setup. It'll give you access to training for each one of the modules within the solution, and you'll always get monthly account analyses, and weekly and quarterly reports just showing you how you're using the solution. Are you using it in this way a little bit more than the rest, so that you understand, hey, maybe we should start using this a little bit more, and maybe we're not using that enough. Just a good insight on how the solution is being used so that you can benefit from it the most. You'll obviously get monthly app usage reports and recurring training webinars as well. The good thing for that is as you hire new employees, since this is typically seasonal, you can train those employees on how to use it. You'll be able to see which employees are actually adopting the technology or not using it at all. Just good eye-opening things that give you the ability to kind of manage what's happening with it. And the line I always have is, we don't want to get you set up and say, good luck, have fun with the product. We want you to actively use it, benefit from it, and we're not going to leave you in the dark. We want to train you, if need to, hold your hand and get you to the optimal level of using the solution before setting you on your own to go ahead and benefit from each one of the features. So I know I've been going on for quite some time now, but I do want to pass it over to Anna Maria and explain kind of what we're doing here with a promotion.
Great, thank you, Anthony. And this was very insightful. Our current promotion is that we are offering an opportunity for a free trial of Teamworks. So it's free for 14 days for your organization so that you can start using the solution. And as Anthony pointed out, it's intuitive. It's easy to use, as well as it's easy to scale as your business grows, and also use it if your business not just does snow removal, but also does landscaping in the non-winter seasons. And this includes everything from automating many of your manual processes to digitizing workflows, as well as optimizing communications amongst your employees, both in the office as well as out on site, and your customers themselves. So feel free to visit the URL you see here to get started. We're excited to bring this forth to you this new year. And let's bring up some of the questions that we have from our attendees today. So the first question is about fuel fluctuations. Question being that cost of fuel for a plow can change from week to week, even from day to day, and one set prices may no longer reflect the profitable margin for a company to truly make a healthy bottom line. Anthony, how does our platform allow for pricing adjustments, as well as helps a company both protect and grow their top and bottom line?
Absolutely, and that's a great question, especially in this industry. One of the most common questions I get is, hey, how do I save on spending outrageous amounts of money on fuel and fuel usage? Here with the Teamworks platform, being able to track the vehicles and the employees' whereabouts can pay huge dividends. First thing, I want you to paint the scenario in your head. It's sub-zero, it's howling wind outside. What is the one thing you don't want to be doing? Is standing in those elements, unfortunately. So we do find that a lot of employees do tend to spend, let's say, a little too much extra time sitting in the vehicle. maybe checking Facebook, maybe going on Instagram, just warming up their bones. But the beauty of our solution is the fleet trackers do give them the ability to manage any idling problems that they may be having, which is one of the largest contributor to overusage of fuel. So you can set alerts and parameters on if a vehicle was idling for too long, meaning the engine is turned on but not moving for longer than, let's say, 10 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, which can drastically reduce the amount of fuel that they're using. And then secondly, having the GPS coordinates of where these employees are and a mapping service that gives us the ability to see traffic overlay, they are able to optimize which routes they send these employees on. You don't want to send somebody from headquarters 200 miles away when you have somebody already 10 miles away from that said location, which can cut down on trip time, which in turn obviously cuts down on fuel usage. So those are just two ways that we can save on fuel, but we do see a drastic reduction and a huge savings to these companies by being able to access and manage that information in a timely manner.
Great. Thank you, Anthony. Another question we have is about emergency service surcharges. How can a company use our platform to minimize overspending on overtime when a team it needs to operate outside of a specified schedule, especially in the event of an emergency?
So the great thing with our solution, and obviously, as I mentioned, overtime plays a big part in multiple companies in different ways, and especially in the snow removal industry, just because on top of their regular work schedule, the 9 to 5 that they may work, or when the storms hit, there's obviously emergencies. Let's say 2 a.m. hits and there's a giant storm that comes through, knocks down power lines, power goes out, streets are blocked, people can't see things. The beauty of our solution is the real-time timekeeping aspect of it. It gives them real-time clock ins and clock outs, so they can see down to the pinpoint second and location of where the employee clocked in or clocked out. Being able to manage this time down to the exact location and second allows payroll in the back office to execute the payroll and give them an accurate number of what needs to be paid, as opposed to just taking a natural assumption of how long they were out there. Obviously, saving the company time, saving the company money by not paying out excess overtime for work that wasn't actually completed. So that visibility does help out and saves in overspending for things that haven't actually occurred. Does that make sense?
It does. Thank you. And the last question is regarding inventory management. So the companies that we work with have a lot of materials, chemicals, etc. on hand. How does our platform help them better manage the inventory so that they have what's needed for the right place at the right time?
Great question. And this is kind of a two-part answer for you. Two different features. So one thing we really like to see is when customers take advantage, obviously, of our wireless forms, but when they go in depth with those wireless forms. And one thing I alluded to during the prior slides we were on was two things: custom lists and API integration. So through our API integrations, we have the ability to communicate with any systems they have already existing. So if there's a scenario where a company has a system that's managing their inventory, or let's say it's just a simple Excel file, CSV file that has all of their parts, pieces, equipment levels, all of that, we can actually have our wireless forms be a little bit more dynamic through our custom lists and auto populate that information in real time for them to access out in the field. So if an employee, gets out of their car, pulls out their phone, they do an inventory list by saying, hey, I used 4 bags of salt. I've also exhausted X amount of fuel. We've used this and this and this. that will update not only on that wireless form that they're submitting, but in real time in the back office so that everybody, the staff in the back office and all the other employees out in the field are aware and know real time what has been allocated for the day, the week, the month, whatever it may be, giving them that visibility to manage and access that inventory list or information at any given time.
Great. Thank you, Anthony. And before I wrap up, are there any concluding thoughts or tips or tricks you want to leave our audience with today?
If I had to say something here at this portion of our fantastic demo that we've had, I would like to say ask questions. In regards to the Teamworks platform, like I said, it is extremely intuitive. There are a lot of different features. You're not going to be able to really grasp all of it all at once. So when you do speak to one of our sales representatives or you do a little bit of research, ask questions because we want you to feel comfortable that this solution is going to be something that fits your business for exactly what it is you do specifically. So ask those questions and allow us to show you how we can benefit your business in different ways. And the only way you're going to be able to kind of adhere to all the different things you're trying to accomplish is asking those questions. And then side note, go into the system, try it out for the 14 days, try to break the system. That's what I tell all of my customers. That's what I tell all my employees. Go in there and try to find something that doesn't work because to be quite honest with you here at Axoft, we're all a bunch of nerds who like to solve problems. And every single time we can find something we could do better, we want to include that ASAP to better adhere to what you, the customer, needs out in the field. But I appreciate your time, Anna Maria, and I appreciate all the questions. Always open to answering anything that anybody may have.
Terrific. Well, thank you, Anthony, for sharing your time and your insights with us today. We will leave you with a couple of ways that you can contact our organization as well as Anthony. Please feel free to reach out to us for a free customized demo to see how Teamworks can work with your workflows and, more importantly, streamline your company's workflows, boosting productivity and profitability. We hope that today's webinar presentation has provided you with some food for thought. Thanks again for your time and your interest.